Hello, dear friends, and welcome to the next terrifying episode of Random Rhapsodies, Sonnet of Blood. I am Matthew R. Dawson, your friendly neighborhood host and game master for this Curse of Strahd playthrough. And joining me around my virtual table tonight are Brandie, Joe, Marty, and Natalie. Say hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hola!
Dyto, unfortunately, isn't feeling very good, so she will not be with us this evening. Now, before we begin, we do have a few announcements to get through, starting with the first of our two sponsors for tonight's show, Hero Forge. Marty?
Hero Forge offers fully customizable tabletop miniatures with dozens of fantasy species and thousands of parts to choose from. Their easy-to-use design tool lets you build your perfect miniature online using a fully 3D in-depth character creator right in your web browser, which is where we built our tokens for this evening's game. You can build your own today at heroforge.com.
Thank you, Marty. Our second sponsor for tonight's show is XSplit. XSplit is a high-quality virtual webcam background remover that works with your already existing webcam. Using this program, you can protect your privacy while you work or play remotely by blurring the background, removing it entirely, or even putting your favorite picture as the background instead. You can download the app today at xsplit.com, and if you use the coupon code RANDOM with a capital R, you can get 10% off of your purchase. You can find our referral link in the chat and show description. Last but not least, this next Monday, we are back with another episode of the Aethertech Wars. The Pathfinders are heading back down into the tunnels underneath Woodpine, and they've discerned that the path up ahead is laden with traps, so they get to deal with that first thing. Now you can keep up to date on our schedule and everything we do here on the network by following us on Facebook as Random Rhapsody TV, on Twitter as @random_rhapsody, on Blue Sky as Random Rhapsody, and on TikTok as Random Rhapsody_TV. And that's going to do it for our announcements. So join us as we dive into the land of Barovia and continue on with the Conclave expedition as they attempt to survive a Sonnet of Blood! And we're back. So you should know how we do our recaps. We offer up the Random Rhapsody coin, which is good for a nat 20 during this session. If I get the coin, I get a nat 20 as well, and I will absolutely use it, and that's a terrifying prospect in Curse of Strahd. So I will probably not get to do it yet again. But maybe I will, who knows? Does anybody want to do it?
I'll do it.
Okay. Well then, Danika, tell us what happened last time on Sonnet of Blood.
Dear Diary, Part 36.5. Urzak and Irina had a discussion about the future. Shortly afterward, there was a ruckus downstairs in the inn, and we ended up overhearing the sheriff threatening the innkeeper. The Baron demands there to be some wine for the festival, but the inn is running low on their supply. It's probably because of Baba La Saga. Well, the rest of our crew, they end up leaving the church. Well, actually, we all meet up. And then we leave the church and end up going to the coffin maker. Once we arrive there, we knock on the door. We get let inside. I cannot remember his name for the life of me. It wasn't important, honestly. But once we get in there, I am currently in my villain era. So I threatened him, and he ended up admitting to stealing the bones. From there, he told us that he was forced by a woman who was threatening him with some magic. And so we decide to leave Dyto down there with him. And the rest of us went upstairs. Oh, Delphine, my bad. Delphine down there. Well, we all went upstairs to go and retrieve the bones. But once we get up there, we are attacked by a spawn of vampires that were hiding in some crates. After mostly defeating them, one ends up escaping through a hole in the floor, and once he gets to the first floor, he ends up murdering the coffin maker. From there, we end up killing the vampire, but then we decide to clean up the mess and return everything spick and span and return the bones to the church. The end.
Okay, well done. There you go. There's the random Rhapsody coin. Don't forget to use it. It's only going to last this session. Well, expedition members. After cleaning up the scene at the coffin maker's place, which included locking the doors behind you all on your way out, you hurried across town as quickly as you dared, so as to not attract any more attention than, a group of strangers would naturally draw. You hurried to St. Andrals Church, and when you arrived, you find Father Lucian kneeling down in front of the altar, clearly praying. The moment you open the doors, however, the priest looks up and his eyes kind of widen a little bit and he stands up in surprise. He says as he hurries towards you all, "I've been praying for you all for a speedy resolution. I did not expect you back so soon, though. What did you discover at Heinrich's shop? His name was Heinrich Vandervoot, just in case you forgot."
Oh, it was Heinrich Vandervoot?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Emphasis on was.
But the priest does say to you, "I was not expecting you here so soon. What did you find at Heinrich's shop?"
Well, we found your bones. No, I mean, not your bones, but the bones you were looking for, I guess.
The priest gasps. You found the bones. Where are they? Are they still there? Did you bring them with you?"
Well, we brought them with us, right?
Of course we brought them. We have them right here.
I believe you put it in a sack or something when you got them.
Danika's gonna shuffle around her things. I think I might have forgot the sack back there.
We've got the sack.
We gotta run.
Just kidding.
And the priest is like, "What? Oh. So you do have the bones?"
Yes, we do.
Bones.
You show him the bones, and thank God, thank the gods, my prayers have been answered. Thank you, Morning Lord. As he reaches out to take them, he kind of cradles them in his arms as he accepts them from you. He says, well, thank you all. This is so wonderful. You must forgive me. I must return them to the crypt. I must reconsecrate the grounds immediately. But please stick around. I must know everything that happened.
Oh. Yeah, you do that.
He's hesitating for a moment, but soon he's like, please just come in, make yourselves comfortable in the rectory in the back. I'll be with you as soon as I can. And he pulls up the hem of his robes and he scurries away, running as fast as he can towards the stairs leading down to the crypt. Danika, what's your passive perception? Danika, are you with us?
I sure I am. I'm looking to see because I don't remember where it is on my sheet.
Just below your skills.
Yeah.
Just below my...
Your actual,
on the left-hand
dex,
side.
con, those skills.
Your stats, not your skills.
What's your wisdom?
My wisdom is a 1.
So, what's the number?
My wisdom is a 12.
Well, it's 10 plus. I guess it's 10 plus your wisdom. So, but if it's only a 1, so it's 11.
Well, I guess it's 11.
According to your sheet, I'm looking at it right now. It's a 12. You get the extra because you're a bard.
Where are you seeing this 12 at?
If you look on the left-hand side of your character sheet.
I found it. I got it. I just missed it in the big letters that it was there.
Okay, no worries. But there you go. So you have a 12. You would notice that the two children that were here at the orphanage, they're both are kind of peering around the door, but the moment you notice them, they duck back out of the way.
Danika's gonna just kind of giggle a little. Well, maybe we should talk to the kids and give them some reassurance. She's gonna nudge Cog. You're better with kids than I am.
All right. He would kind of slowly walk to where they were hiding, and I guess what he said, they ducked under the room. He'll go follow them, just find them and just all right, boys. About before. Oh, go ahead.
Well, you head back towards the back area, and you do see the two children go running off into one of the side rooms near the rectory where the priest stays, and the door closes.
He'll just kind of walk up to the door and just kind of say boys, please, just, I want to apologize on Danika's behalf. She did not mean to terrify you. Well, maybe she did, but I didn't mean for her to terrify you. Everything's going to be okay. We've got the bones back, so everything's going to be fine. There's no... Father's not upset with you. Everything's good. So you guys, just, you're going to be safe. He's if you need anything, come and find me.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
Oh, Lord. This will go swimmingly well with my good old +1. Oh, that's good. It's 18.
Hey, 18, that's pretty good. So the younger of the two children opened the door, and you can see the little kid peeking his head out and looking at you, and he says, "You found the bones. I'm glad to hear that."
I am too. It was little. I mean, we found the bones. That's all that matters. So yeah, everything's gonna be fine. You guys are gonna be okay. You're not in trouble. There's no harm, no foul. You know, you did things out of what you thought was good intentions and caring for each other and for the father and for the abbey. So for the church, everything's good, guys.
We're both glad to hear that Milivaj is hiding under the bed.
I understand. Tell him I promise the blonde woman she is not going to harm him in any way. I won't let that happen. Okay?
Danika, oh, sorry.
Oh, don't tell me you followed.
Danica's standing behind Cog, like, making that little, like what?
Let's just say this, boys. If she does try to hurt you, there are things that I could do that she would regret most of her life if she does, okay? And he's just gonna kind of look over his shoulder. Your life. Just looking at her, just saying, it's like, stop fucking with these kids. We need them.
Urzak's is standing next to Danika and goes, so, which one did you make piss themselves?
I think it was Rickon? Is that his name?
No.
Oh my god.
No, Milivaj.
Milivaj?
Yeah, Milivaj is the kid who you made him piss himself. He's hiding under the bed.
Oh, the one under the
currently.
bed? Nice.
The kid that's at the door is Yeska.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's just holding his head in his hand. He's like, you guys. Oh my god. You are terrible with children. You know that? Both of you.
Danika chimes in. Cog peed a little bit the first time he met me, too.
I did not. And if I did, that was in what's the whole term for old people? Incontinence. He goes, that was nothing to do with you. Thank you very much. I had a prune smoothie, and it was nothing to do with you.
That makes it worse.
It makes it so much worse.
Yeah. And nothing to do with you. She's not going to hurt you, I promise.
It's okay, Jack.
The little kid doesn't know whether or not to be terrified or giggle hysterically at this whole thing, and he's just kind of staring at the two of you, big eyes, not sure what to do.
And Danika will just laugh, and she'll be like, "It's okay, bud. We're not gonna hurt you. Everything worked out, and we got the bones back."
I'll tell Milivaj.
Yeah, tell him. Yeah, thanks. He's gonna slough. He's gonna drop. He's gonna turn around. He's like, God damn it, guys! Come on. It's like help a brother out, all right? Just let's walk back to the other room.
You make your way back towards the rectory, which is where the priest said you should all wait. It's a smallish area, both a bedroom, sitting room, office kind of situation, all crammed into the back of the back room of the church. The boys, you kind of leave to their own devices. Milivaj apparently is still hiding under one of the bunk beds. You can hear what's his name? Yeska. You can hear Yeska kind of calling out to him a little bit from behind the door there. But it's muffled, what they're saying. Inside the rectory, it's cramped but comfortable. You can all find seats on the bed. There's a bench and as well as a couple chairs. And you all just kind of settle in to wait. It's about 4:30 closer to 5-ish at this point in the evening. The sun is starting to set over the distant horizon, and there is a single window in this priest's chambers that allows you to see this as it's slowly starting to descend towards the treetops. You've gotten a lot accomplished here over the span of this day, but I feel like there's also a lot to discuss and a lot to consider. So, with that in mind, while your group is waiting for the father to return to you all, what do you want to do?
Wait, did he say how long it would take him to reconsecrate it?
Really didn't.
Well, we should probably stick around anyway, not leave. Just in case, the one that got away, one did get away, right?
I don't think so.
Or did we kill all the vampires? Or we just don't, I guess, did we kill the one that was also threatening him? But I don't think so. I think she left.
So, I'll remind you, you did get all of them. The last one, smashed a hole in the floor to try to escape and fed on Heinrich to revitalize herself, but you all caught her when she was doing that and was able to finish her off.
And was one of those, I don't remember, the one that actually was threatening him?
No, it was not.
Okay.
Or at least none matched that description that he gave you.
Yeah.
Short, dark hair, very beautiful, very rich clothing, veil covering the back of her head, that sort of thing.
A red sensual cloak.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys. How long do you think it's going to take before somebody finds Henrik? I mean, he did have the shop closed up. Hopefully nobody saw us coming and going.
Well, I do imagine the next time they need a casket, they'll go knocking.
Well, they're already full. Well, now the problem is, who sent them to kill him and to get the bones? I mean, they're vampires, and I can't help but make a correlation between the vampire lord that we know is in the world. Maybe one of his people was doing this? But why? I mean, as a man of faith, and then as, a lifelong researcher, would he know of any ritual that the guy was told was ritual that, consecrated bones could be used for? Would that be something that Cog would have come across before?
I mean, there's always a very slim possibility, but
I was just asking, seeing if there was some.
I'll allow you to make a Arcana check.
It's just a 10. It's right in the middle.
Yeah, unfortunately, no. It's not that the answer is no, there's no such thing. The answer is there's so many different possibilities that it's hard to narrow down without knowing more than one thing. Assuming even that this guy was told the truth, yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to rack my brain on what ritual, if that's the truth, these bones would have been used for. I mean, I need more context here. Does Strahd really? I mean, if it's him, does he really need a special ritual to have any more control over these people in this land? Kind of seems like he's in absolute control already. So, what do you guys think? Anybody? Bueller?
Do you think it might be more about maybe not the ritual, but getting access to the church?
Why would he? I mean, if that's the case, what's so special about this particular church? that he would need such access.
I don't know. You've seen as much of the church as I have.
Well, and we're just spitballing here. There's no need to get defensive. I mean, I haven't seen or detected really anything that's particularly special about this place. I mean, the Abbey I could get. I mean, that's like the circular one, like the place we were headed to. Like, that's like the number one spot. You know, you would think in Barovia if you were trying to gain access to something, but
What would if I were to use Divine Sense, what would that reveal about this place? Because I don't think I've been in this church yet.
Well, you can always try and find out.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah. You use your divine sense, reaching out. It detects celestial fiend undead, if I'm remembering correctly.
in consecrated ground.
Yeah.
Consecrated, desecrated, I believe.
As with the Hallow spell, for instance.
Okay. So, right this second, you don't sense anything. Because it's early in the conversation. But, like, within about 30 minutes of chatting and kind of spitballing ideas, you would absolutely sense that something as it happens. And that's what I'm about to describe for. So, during that time, as you're all sitting there talking, I feel like, Cog, you would sense this as well. A little differently. It would feel definitely different for Urzak than it would for you. But there would be this sense of change. The best way I could describe it is if you were a duck in an oil slick, and then suddenly someone came along with a big old thing of Dawn and cleaned you up, and you just feel this weight off of your chest. It feels like you're just sitting there talking, and then suddenly a little glimmer of hope blossoms in your chest. And it's palpable, it's physical. Like, Urzak, imagine if you were wearing heavy plate armor and then suddenly you took that off and your shoulders feel a little bit lighter. That's kind of what this is, but on a internal metaphysical sort of level. It feels protected. It feels safe. Inherently, you would know this because you are a paladin. The grounds here are hallowed. The undead cannot step foot upon it. Simple as that. Now, how these bones do this, you don't know the exact process of it, but you feel this sort of thing internally. Just that divine connection that you have. You can sense that this now, all of a sudden, whatever he did down there, this area feels safe and secure. And it's like the first time you felt this way since coming into Barovia.
Like, you think when that happens, Cog almost kind of like stumbles and catches himself. And he's just like, oh my, wow, oh, okay, that's different.
Oh, you feel that too?
Yeah, that warmness, you know. Oh, I think he's done. Well, I mean, that's certainly different. I mean, it's very powerful, but I still don't know why Strahd would care so much. But yeah, that is who. The children, let's say they'll be safe from people like Strahd. I mean, now, old bee farm out there, I don't know if this is going to stop him, but the children should definitely be somewhat safer here than they would anywhere else. In town, at least. Oh. Oh, that feels good. I kind of want to hang around.
Yeah, Danika, Vide, while the two of you can't feel the same things that the two gentlemen do, there is a feeling of difference in the two of you as well. It's hard to put your finger on exactly what changed, but something changed. You can feel it. For Vide, it's probably this. It seems a little brighter somehow, maybe. But for either of you, however you want to describe it, you once Urzak and Cog like mention it and verbalize it, you're like, yeah, I can kind of feel something changed here too.
Danica will let out like a little laugh, and she'll be like, "See, Cog, this is why sometimes you gotta be mean to kids. You feel that?"
No, I don't. Yeah, no. Knowing that the only other time he tried this was right when they first got here, and it went horribly wrong. He's gonna try doing a little bit of druidcraft and just kind of like make like some maybe he's got like a seed or something in his pocket and see if he can make it flower, like make it blossom. Just to see if maybe it's different now,
Yeah.
knowing what's changed.
Okay, so you take out the seed and focus in on it and begin sprouting it. And at first, the tendril does come up, beginning to sprout, green, and looking healthy. But then, the farther it gets, the bigger it gets, the more it starts to blacken and change and become twisted yet again.
Well, it's not a bad, terrible sign, but it did start out good. So, I mean, maybe that is why they're after this. If this offers any form of hope at all, I mean, hope is a very, very dangerous weapon. I mean, for both the people who have it and the people who don't. So maybe snuffing out the light, maybe that was the whole point.
I don't know how far this goes out, but even if it's just contained to the church.
Even if it's just the grounds, that's still. I mean, we haven't felt this since we've been here.
True.
And we've been here for what, like at least a week now?
A little longer.
Couple,
yeah.
like week and a half, 2 weeks. It's like this is the first time. I mean, I've somewhat felt a connection to my lady, but I don't know. I definitely feel something more here, anywhere than I have in Barovia. I mean, revolutions have started on little more, little more than this. This is a good thing, but we just have to figure out how to use it and foster it.
I think we need to know more about this Morning Lord.
You don't know who the Morning Lord is?
Not really.
Really? You've never heard of him? I mean, I get it. You grew up in the Church of the Five, pretty oppressive, but you've honestly never heard of Lathander? They do let you read books, right? I mean, not just burn them. Oh, burn! I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, that was kind of funny. No, I guess that never really came up.
Yeah, I mean, his name is Lathander. He's the Morning Lord. He's a very powerful deity for good. Not really seen much on the Ropa, but,
As you say that, you hear a voice coming from the doorway. Yes, the Morning Lord truly smiles upon all of us this day. St. Andral's bones are returned to his resting place, and his ancient home feels at peace once again. It is good that you returned his bones to this place before night has fallen. For as long as the sun is up, the Morning Lord's eye shines down upon us. But once again, I must thank you all for your assistance. I don't think I could have done this, returned the bones to their rightful place without your help. You asked whether or not I could house some little ones you've uncovered along your travels. They are, of course, welcome here. And if there's anything else I can do to aid or assist you, you need but ask.
Well, we are trying to figure out what could be the reason why they stole the bones. Now, the boy said he was told it was for a ritual, and, Heinrich, bless his soul, also said he was told it was for a ritual. He was threatened by what we believe is a creature of the undead to steal the bones. But other than just the light and the hope that this area is bringing right now, is there anything else special about your church, Father? Is there something significant about this location in particular?
The father nods his head and says, well, this was the home of St. Andral. This was his final resting place when he passed. St. Andral was, he was a deeply, deeply pious man. The tales say that long, long ago, he served the great Lord as he made his conquest of these lands. It is said that he and Strahd had a falling out of some kind and was driven away. The entire order of the Morning Lord was driven away long, long ago. Our tales tell us that St. Andral found his way here long before this village was found. He sought a place to create a place of refuge and hope for those fleeing war's devastation. He, of course, let this place be a sanctuary to all those fleeing for his life as long as he could. He built this church in the Morning Lord's name and kept it open for any and all. As for why anyone would wish to take them, I honestly cannot say. Other than myself, I did not believe anyone understood the significance of the bones.
Well, it wasn't until you completed your ritual that I truly felt the change. But I mean, if someone such as Strahd or one of his kind even got within, the bounds of this building, they would feel it too. But I mean, unless somehow one of them knew, I mean, Strahd had to know. I mean, he seems to know everything here. And he said there was a falling out between him and this people before they were saints. This Andral. Oh, does that mean was Strahd in league at one point before he became a vampire with this Andral in this cult of the Morning Lord and these Morning Lord worshippers?
I know very little of the Von Zurovich line.
That would be a plot twist. Well,
I only know what our secret histories tell us.
I mean, that alone, the fact that this St. Andrals in some way stood against Strahd at one point, maybe that could be a reason why, but why would it take so long for them to come get the bones? I mean, it's just a lot of unanswered questions. We need to hopefully find this individual that threatened the coffin maker and find out exactly why these bones were sought after. Is there anyone in town, maybe a regular, someone of the church, that you would trust to stand guard over the bones when you can't be around? Maybe one of the congregation?
He thinks about that for a little bit. There are a few loyal to the Morning Lord who come here, though a few among the gods who are well trained, who I believe are pious enough I could ask.
Right. Do so kind of very secretively, just because, one, we don't, just in case they don't know about it, we don't want, the Bolt Bee Farm and the, leader of the town and stuff to find out about this, because who knows what they would do if they got their hands on such an item. But yeah, I think we need to do as best you can to keep them safe. I mean, it was a lap of judgment for the boys. They didn't understand. But if someone who does understand, who is capable of defending themselves, we need to... What you have here is possibly... And we haven't been to the Abbey yet, but this might be really the only consecrated ground in all of Barovia, right here.
The father nods his head and he tells you, I have been thinking on this as well. I've decided that I am going to seal up St. Andral's crypt. Make it so that none can access his resting place.
That'd be a good idea.
I plan to start soon, after we speak, in fact. I cannot let the bones come into contact with any again.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, just being here, I can almost feel, my lady again in my presence. So this is a very good place. Yes, seal it up if that will be protected, and then even then, still post somebody if you can. I mean, we really need to have some people probably watching the church if there's going to be anybody here taking refuge anyway. But this is a good place.
Perhaps if you wish to go and retrieve the rest of your companions, the children, and bring them this evening, perhaps some of you could remain while I am sealing it up.
Yes. I would be honored to help with that. So, I mean, I don't know if we go as a group or if some of us want to stay and somebody goes collects Irina and the kids, or
Delphine can absolutely do that since she's not here.
And, stay.
And Natalie needs to step away for a minute, so we can say that Danika is as well.
Yeah, boys' mission. Let's go. It's gonna like slap Urzak on the back, and you go up to Vide. He's like, "Yeah, it's bro time."
Beats
Like-
set. Yep.
It's like, I don't want to be a third wheel here, guys, but I mean, I kind of, let's go get the, I am so sorry. Let's go get the kids.
Okay. Well, leaving Danika and Delphine behind, the three of you make your way out of the church and start heading back towards the inn. The priest makes his way back down into the crypt to begin his work, just as he said he would. And the three of you start heading off towards the inn. Now, the sun is getting lower at this point because we're also going to say that you spent a little time explaining what happened to the priest, I assume. Letting him know
the
about
coffin maker.
Yeah, you tell him about the coffin maker.
Yeah, we'll say it was definitely, vampires, so it wasn't like, a pretty blonde, eviscerated him like she threatened to do to his children. It wasn't our fault.
Okay. So with that, as the sun is beginning to set further down, you make your way towards the Blue Water Inn. As you're approaching, you can see that the inn is already fairly lively and full. There's quite a lot of people talking in there right now. You can hear a bit of clamor. Some music being played as well. The sounds of a lute being strummed. A rich baritone that you recognize to be Rictavio playing in the common room of the inn. Your rooms, however, you have to take a side staircase up to the second floor to access those rooms. But as you're approaching, you notice that there's a couple of men sitting on the steps. You can see them at a fair distance. They seem to be watching the road because as you see them, they obviously see you, and one of the two men kind of point towards you. What do you do?
Be like, pointing at me like, oh, well, just like, oh, me? Oh. And I guess we kind of can't avoid them. So yeah, he'll Cog will approach.
Okay. As you start making your way towards them, because you're right, you really don't have a choice. The two of them are literally sitting on the steps of the inn, which you need to climb to get to your rooms. And they don't stand up either as you're approaching. They sit there and watch. As you're getting closer, you do recognize them. These are the two men who had drunkenly engaged you the previous evening when you first arrived. Cog, you can definitely remember some wine dribbling on your head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's those two. And they're obviously waiting for you because as you start getting closer and you start recognizing them, the younger of the two kind of jostles the other one and says, "Now see, I told you, if we waited here long enough, they would be here." And he kind of laughs and hits his brother hard on the back. The elder of the two kind of pushes them a little bit, and you can already, as you're getting closer, you can smell the wine on their breath. As you get closer, you can see there are several bottles of wine discarded on the ground. And they seem to have glasses in their hands as well. Mugs, not glasses. Mugs in their hands as well. The older smiles and stands up and he says, "Ah, yes. It is good to see you again, little man. It is good to see you. Though I do not see all of you. Where are the pretty ones you had with you?"
Well, I'm a little hurt that you don't think I'm a pretty one. But they're dealing with other matters. Why are you asking?
Well, you see, we have been sent here to invite you all to dinner.
By whom?
He starts to reply, but then he just drinks from his mug. Wine kind of dribbles down his shirt a little bit, and the younger one stands up and slaps his brother on the back, and he says, you make yourself stupid, brother. Our mother is Lady Fiona Wachter. She has heard about the newcomers in town and told us to come and invite you all for dinner this evening. She is anxious to meet newcomers whenever they get here.
Oh, is that so? I need to look at the other two. He's like, you guys up for dinner tonight? We have heard things about Miss Wachter.
I suppose it would be rude to turn down an invitation.
I guess we kind of should.
The younger one kind of grins again and says, my mother will be very happy to hear this. We will go and let her know that you are coming. Be at the manor at 7 p.m. sharp. They both kind of stand up and pick up their bottles, which are clearly empty, and they kind of shake them a little bit, then just throw them as hard as they can towards the road, where they shatter.
See, the old wine shortage isn't affected you fellows.
Wine shortage? Oh,
yeah,
no. Our mother, she has her own supply. He kind of chuckles, and the other one chuckles as well and says, I'm sure you will have many on your fine dinner with her. She will see you then. Come on, brother, let's go find some more. And the older kind of puts his arm around the younger, and the two of them start wobblyly making their way down the road. They're heading in towards the west. But that's it. They delivered their message, and they head over. They just head out.
Well, I mean, we were wanting, or I at least was wanting to talk to her, because, we've heard that she's against, the leadership of this town, at least in some way. She speaks out against him, so maybe she can make a useful ally if we have to move against him. I mean, those two drunk assholes, they could probably take a lot of punishment and not feel it.
They're kind of big and burly.
So, cannon fodder. I didn't say that. I meant soldiers for the cause. But yeah, I suppose we just kind of go up the stairs and find hopefully find Irina and the children. Well, at least Irina.
You do find Irina and the children. All of them are back in the one room. The children are obviously have woken from their naps and are currently bouncing around the room. As you open the door, like all three of them are literally bouncing on the beds, and Irina looks as though she's getting very, very frustrated. She's a little bit red in the face, and she's calling out to them all. Now, all of you sit down right now. Stop bouncing on the beds. If you do not stop this at once, you will not get any dinner.
Burst open the door.
You burst open the door, and it slams against the wall, and all three of the children just stop and stare. And then they all start giggling.
I see you're all behaving for Irina. It's good. Yeah.
Davos jumps down and comes running towards you. You're back! I was wondering how long you would be gone. I thought we might have dinner without you. Did you bring us our toys?
Oh, shit. Was that today we're supposed to pick them up?
No, that's not till tomorrow.
Yes, we got toys.
They're being worked on.
made.
We told you. The gentleman didn't have anything available at the time that we thought was appropriate, and so he is making us a special toy. So we're going to pick it up tomorrow. He needs time to work.
And that's why we were bouncing on the bed. And they all start giggling again.
Okay, let's get you guys to a safer place as quickly and quietly as possible.
Yeah.
Irina looks up at this and says, "You did find a safer location."
The church does offer some protections that nowhere else that we know of in Barovia can offer as of now. So yes, it's a much more safer spot than here.
Excellent. Excellent. And you wish to leave right away?
Well, I mean, I guess if we don't have to go immediately, but probably, I guess you said it's like 4:30ish?
No, it's much later
No.
now. Yeah.
Oh, now it, okay. Well, we probably have to leave here pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'd rather have you guys there than here.
Because also, we were invited to dinner. Lady
Exciting.
Wachter's house.
Irina claps her hands together and says, "You hear that, children? We are moving to a new place. Gather all of your things and get ready. We are leaving in 10 minutes, and if you don't have everything together, we are leaving it." And the kids all go scrambling all over the place, looking for various things to cram into their little backpacks.
Taking anything not nailed down.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. And as that's happening, Irina just turns to you all and kind of glares at you, Urzak, and she says, "Tell me everything."
Well... We got the... I can't remember where I left off with her. Does she even...
She doesn't know
that?
anything about the church, I think, in the bones, right?
Right.
You
okay.
mentioned the church to her,
Yeah.
that it might be a safe location. You were checking it out, but that was about it.
Well, we know for sure that the church is a safer location than anywhere else so far. Might be a better option than Algiba at this point, because based on what we're hearing, that might not even be on the table. They had some relics stolen. We got those back. There were, but maybe still are vampire spawns in the town. So that's a problem.
But they can't go into the church now, so
They can't go into the church.
that's a good thing.
Good.
We heard, we spoke to that colorful elf, Rictavio,
Hmm.
earlier. We haven't been able to explain this to you yet. Figured out, heard some rumors of potential, allies in our fight. Some powerful soldiers, a wizard, near a tower in the woods that we could check out. But yeah, I mean, there's some good things that we can look at and investigate. Hopefully, that will make things here in Barovia a little better.
I am very reassured to hear that. Well, let me get my things as well, and we will head to this church.
Yeah, you have Check's non-existent watch 7 minutes now.
Fortunately, I did not pull much out. She hasn't either. She has her backpack, her short sword, and everything else ready to go. She just grabs it up and then starts working with the children to get them all ready. But once she's finished and the 3 children are all holding on to their own backpacks, the 2 boys have their wooden practice swords on the side, just like she does. She turns to you all and she says, I've been thinking more about the concept of magical illusion. I've been thinking on it. I've read some of Delphine's book, and I believe I am ready to try this. She begins moving her hands in a certain way and kind of mutters off a few lines of incantation, and you watch as her features change. She is about 2 or 3 inches taller than what she was. Her hair is dark black. She looks at least 30 years older than what she did, and one of her eyes is milky white. She looks quite ugly, but she smiles at you as she's looking at her hands and says, "Did it work? Did it work?" And she walks over to like a basin of water, pours a little water in it, and looks at it like a mirror to see her reflection. She turns and kind of claps her hands and bounces girlishly a little bit, reminding you all that she's like in her early 20s. It worked. I knew it would work. And she's just smiling and clapping her hands together.
Yeah.
Yay!
Delphine's
Well,
going to be impressed, I'm sure.
That'll be
that's
very
pretty good.
useful.
It definitely worked. Definitely is a good idea. Consider.
I can barely hear you, Brandie.
I don't know why. Maybe I just talked too
That's
low.
why.
Yep, that's why. Okay. Anyway, this will help. I was worried about going across the town if the sheriff would recognize me, so I've been practicing this. I did not think I would pick it up this easily, but I seem to have a knack for magic. She has essentially cast what's the spell?
Guy's self?
Yep, disguise self.
Nice.
Ultra self.
Oh.
Yeah, ultra self, not disguise self. Ultra self. Anyway, once she has done this, she kind of smiles and says to you all, well, let's get back to the church. You said that there was a dinner as well. Could I perhaps go with you?
I think that might be fine. I'd rather have you at arm's length where we can protect you better. I know the church is probably a good spot, but
I am happy to do so. Let us be off. The children are all duly impressed with Irina's new ability and kind of chatter about it a little bit, but she silences them very quickly and tells them that they have to be quiet and calm as they're making their way across the town to the church. They don't want to be interrupted or spotted. They want to be ignored, so be good little adventurers and show that you can be stealthy. Which, of course, is the exact thing to say to Davos and the kids. So they immediately fall silent and start following, well, silent for the children. Let's be honest, they're not silent at all. But they do follow you all towards the church. And I think that's probably a good place to pause for this evening and take a break. So, we will be back in about 10 minutes, everybody, and when we return, we will find out what happens when our heroes get into a dinner with a local nobleman. Stay tuned. Howdy, everybody. We are back. And when we last left off, our heroes were taking Irina and the children over to St. Andrals Church to get them to a safe location, which is now the first and only safe location they've been to since coming here to Barovia. So that's a good thing. The arrival at the church is an interesting affair. The priest has managed to get his two older boys out of their rooms and in their altar boy outfits, and are actually standing there near the altar when you all arrive. Father Lucian comes down and introduces himself to the children and then to Irina, and tells them all about how awesome this place is, how there's several other children to meet and to get to know. There's lots of things to play with here, and it should be a great time for the children to hide out here while he says, while your friends finish their business, and leaves it at that. Irina, of course, tells the children to go and introduce themselves, and there's this whole heartwarming scene where the older of the two, he's not wearing piss-stained pants at this point, but he keeps giving Danika sideways glances, while the younger of the two seems very enthusiastic to see some smaller children, and takes them back into the dormitories to see kind of where everything is. The father comes to you and says they look like healthy, exuberant children. It's a nice change of pace from the dour, somber individuals that usually come here to the church. As for the rest of you, the facilities here are open to you as well, though the dormitories are a little cramped for your size. You're absolutely welcome to use them. And if there's anything else I can do to help you, please let me know. Irina also spent some time, talking to the father and getting to know him, while the kids are getting set up and ready to go. As for the three of you, Corwan, Vide, and Urzak, do you touch base with Danika and let her know what's going on?
Yeah, I think so. It's, I think before everything, there is a moment where, like, Urzak kneels in front of Davos and says, You have that stick?
He pulls it out from his bag. He has it right there. Of course I do. I have my sword right here.
You practice with that every day, but don't use it on anybody. I'll be back to check on you. And if I find out you've been hitting people with it, I'm going to take it away.
But I thought I was supposed to hit them.
Only if they want to play swords.
But what if a monster comes?
That's when we use what we've been taught about stealth, right?
Oh, yes, I am very good at stealth.
Well, you just keep working on that, okay? And I put my hand on his shoulder and I say, we'll be back to check up. You'll be safe here.
Okay, be safe out there. I will see you when you return.
I guess we do have to get toys for him, too.
That's tomorrow.
Yeah, but...
That little shit can wait.
yeah.
Davos does go running off with the other children to show Yesik and Milivage how to use it as a weapon and that sort of thing. You know how kids are.
Great role models.
Yeah. But once that happens, you all gather together and kind of let Danika know about the invitation to dinner.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Now, have we, and remind me, have we talked to the father about Fiona Wachter? Like, asked to, I don't know, if we asked about her character or anything to him?
I thought didn't he bring, or I know we talked to the bar, I guess the owner of the bar, briefly about her, I believe.
I want to
Go ahead and ask the father.
I was going to say, I want to ask the father what he thinks of her character before we go and meet her for dinner.
Okay. Asking the father about Lady Fiona Wachter, he tells you, well, her and her sons are not regular visitors to the church here. She's well known to be outspoken about the Baron. She is one of the few who can outwardly or be outspoken against him and get away with it. She does have her own gods in her employ. Yeah.
I don't want to know about, like, the things we kind of already know about her. I want to know what you really think of her. How do you think of her character as a person? Do you think she's a good person?
That's difficult to say. When her husband was well, she was a very good woman. While she was one who always spoke of she was one who was always outspoken about working with the Lord of the land, being loyal servants and collecting and contributing the proper taxes when called upon, that sort of thing. While she was outspoken in that regard, as a person, she was always very kind and very generous with the people, which is why she's very well received by the people in town. A number of years ago, her husband became infirm and became ill, and the older one gets, the more cynical and jaded one becomes, and Lady Watcher was no stranger to these things. Would I say that I trust her as well as I trust any who come through these doors? But do I think of her as a good person? As I said, as good as any here in these lands.
Well, I thank you for your honest opinion.
Always happy to assist you in any way I can. If you have any other questions, I'm always happy to answer them. Okay. Do you have anything else you all want to do before you head out?
No, I suppose we can. We don't want to keep the lady waiting, I suppose.
And before we leave, I just want to tell the kids to be nice to Davos and the two kids we brought.
Make for me an intimidation check.
Does it have to be intimidation?
Can I give the health action if she does intimidation?
Yes, you can.
You guys are great.
I'm 25.
You didn't even need it.
I mean, you tell them to be nice to Davos and all of that, and Milivaj, like he at the time he was holding one of the two kids' sticks, and you saw him like kind of looking like he was about to swing it, but then when you pop in and you like tell him be good, he just drops it. He's like, I was just playing.
Good kid.
You guys are great.
You know, the more you say that, the less I believe it.
Well, you shouldn't at all, but
I wasn't trying to be intimidating that time.
I love how Danika just recently just starts to bring out the worst in Urzak. It's so funny.
Urzak, we're in our villain era.
Your villain arc.
Whatever that means, sure. I just think it's funny to see you intimidate children.
Just you wait. What oh my god, Joe, what do you nickname the guy with the arm? What's his nickname?
Old Beef Arm?
Old Beef Arm. I was like, wait until I intimidate Old Beef Arm. I'm just working my way up.
That in my head now. So good.
Why not? Well, you all do eventually make your way out of the church and start heading towards the Wachter house. Now, you have been told before where this actually was. You were asking about it from the people at the market earlier today, so you do have an idea of where they live. The Watchers live on the northern street heading out of Veros. Now, the house itself, as you're approaching, is, well, unique to say the least. The house seems to be disgusted with itself, if you were to put an adjective on it. A slouching roof hangs heavy over furrowed gables, and moss-covered walls sag and bulge under the weight of the vegetation. As you study the house's sullen countenance, you hear the whole building actually groan slightly. Only then do you realize the extent to which the house hates what it actually is. However, even under these circumstances, it is still probably the second biggest building you've seen since coming here. It's 2.5 stories tall. There are many large windows that show a brightly lit, though curtained, interior. And the door is large and seems to be made of oak. And there is a very large brass knocker in the center of it, molded and shaped like a lion with a ring in its mouth. Probably a century ago, this house was, well, could have easily been wealthy and well established, but now looking at it, you all can't help but wonder to yourselves, noble lives here? Okay. But there it stands, sagging and kind of planty, but warm and inviting nonetheless, and they're waiting for you. So, what do you do?
Suppose we knock on the door, right?
I do believe that might be the best course of action, unless you guys want to sneak in.
Yeah. Now, let's knock on the door. We were invited.
Dana clicks around.
We're not breaking in.
I've had enough. I've had enough breaking and entering for one day.
I assume it's always on the table, so I always just like to ask if there's something specific you want to do. What can I say?
Danica nudges Cog. Come on, Cog, sneak in.
No.
What's just a little bit of breaking and entering between friends?
He's just gonna walk up and knock while they're talking. Just rub at his temples.
You walk up to the door and knock on the wood itself, since you're not tall enough to reach the handle. In no more than a couple moments, the door is open to reveal a younger-ish looking Barovian woman, human, like pretty much every Barovian you've met so far, with kind of mousy brown hair all done up in a bun. She's wearing clothes that are kind of drab in color, but clearly designed to be a servant's uniform of some type. You know, apron over a very plain blouse and skirt, that kind of deal. Little what's the word? A cap on her head, that sort of thing. She looks at you all and she says, "Ah, well, are you perhaps the adventurers that I was told would be dining with the lady this evening?"
I suppose we are, yes.
Well then, allow me to welcome you into the Watcher House. Please, step this way. And she holds the door open to reveal a short and narrow entryway, where she steps back to allow you all to enter into. As you do, she looks to you all and says, "May I take your cloaks, your battle axe?" Your other weapons?
Yeah, she can. Kag will keep his staff, but she can have everything else. Yeah, it's this walking stick.
Kind of
He's an old man.
Looks down at her like, no.
Jet, are you in? It's in poor form. We've been invited as guests. I don't hope no harm is meant towards us. I think you can give it up, buddy.
Urzak, you see how he's trying to talk to us? Or tell us to disarm. Trying to talk to us.
He's in on it too.
I know. You know what they say, never trust a halfling. No.
You know what? Whatever. Just do whatever you're gonna do it.
No,
No,
Zach just says, fine. Drops the axe.
You drop the axe there at the woman's feet, as Irina, who joined you as well, though she is in an altered illusionary state, she passes the woman her short sword. Kind of gives a smile. She's currently dressed as that kind of oldish looking woman still. So, completely unrecognizable to any of, although you know exactly what she looks like. What about you, Vide? You disarm?
I will, but not willing. Not super willing. I can't think of the word. But
You're reluctant.
Yes, that's the word. That is the word. I reluctantly give up my weapons.
Fair enough. You hand over your pistol, your whip, and your sword as well, and she takes these things. What about your coat? Do you hand over your coat?
No.
No?
No, that stays on.
Fair enough. How about the hat? Keep the hat?
Hat stays.
Hat stays as well. She kind of raises an eyebrow at this, but allows you to pass once you're disarmed. What about you, Danika?
Danika will hand her bow and her rapier.
Okay. Once all of you have disarmed, she places these items in. There's a closet right here next to her, and she places them all in the nearby closet, closing the door before opening the next door to allow you into a shorter hallway with the stairs leading up. But instead of going up the stairs, she turns immediately to the left and opens the next door that opens into a very large and brightly lit parlor. You can see that there is a long table with quite a few chairs all placed around it that is elaborately laid. Plates on top of plates, a large assortment of silverware to either side, glasses, large pitchers of wine in crystal pitchers on the table. To the right, you look and see a small sitting area with several couches and chairs. In the middle, a low sort of a coffee table type thing. And seated in the back, near the fireplace, in a tall, high-backed chair, is an elderly human woman with long graying hair, all tied up and done in a elaborate, kind of almost beehive-y do. She is pale, but heavily make-upped. She has a gown of dark blue. She's wearing a gold necklace and gold rings on her fingers. She looks very, very wealthy. And as she stands up, you notice that seated next to her is a middle-aged looking man in very fine attire. He's dressed in a white tunic and leather pants. He has a jaunty short cape flung over one shoulder. He's a human as well. He has a thin pencil beard and goatee on his face. His hair is dark black, and his eyes are black as well. And he stands at the same time the obviously Lady Fiona Wachter stands up. The lady smiles as you all step into the room, and with the maid following and closing the door behind you, the lady says to you, welcome, welcome, welcome. I've heard so much about the newcomers to our town. I was just so excited at the prospect of meeting you all. Please, please come in, come in. And she's beckoning you all to approach her. What do you do?
We step forward, and Urzak will say, "It's a pleasure to meet you, Lady Wachter."
Lady Wachter, and she extends her hand towards you, you know, like palm down, that sort of thing. Might I have the pleasure of your name, sir?
Urzak. And I take it for like a handshake at first, and then like halfway through realize, oh, she's doing the and it's just very like awkward and like hasn't been in a lot of these like social situations before.
She smiles at you in a condescending way and says, so lovely to meet you, Urzak. I don't believe I've ever met one of your unique shade of green before.
Yeah, I've noticed that around here.
You must have many, many tales of far away. I look forward to hearing you recount them this evening. She steps away from the very clearly uncomfortable Urzak, towards, it looks like Danika's next to him, so he'll come up to you next. Lady Fiona Wachter.
Pleasure to meet you, Danika Aniki.
You are lovely, my dear, lovely.
Oh, well, thank you. You are too.
She chuckles at that a little bit, and you can clearly see her like eyeing your ears.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Should I say something out of character?
Yeah.
The whole time we were talking about Lady Wachter, I kept picturing her in my head as, have you seen Lady Damascus from Resident Evil 6?
Yes.
Nate.
Yes.
For some reason, that is how I've been picturing her in my head this entire time we've talked about her.
Not nearly as voluptuous, that's for sure, but you get the idea.
I know.
Yeah, I can see that. She does this same routine with literally all of you, walking up to you, extending the hand, insisting on getting your name from you. This process takes quite a bit of time. She makes a slightly snarky comment to each of you as well. Vide, she says something about the lovely state of your coat before sniffing and turning her nose up. She says a little comment about an individual of your stature and calls for a step stool to be brought so you're more comfortable at the table. And for Irina, in her one dead eye old lady guise of hers. She makes a weird comment about the lovely state of her skin and how soft her hand feels. Once she's done with this, she turns and introduces you all to the man that had been seated with her. This is my dear friend, Mr. Ernst Larnock. He is a well-to-do individual in our community, and I thought that you all being new to these parts, it would be good to meet another friendly face and kindred spirit. Ernst, for his part, kind of gives you all one of those greasy sort of smiles, like a used car salesman, and goes around and shakes each one of your hands as well.
Do you have a picture of him?
I'm looking to see if I do right now, actually. Unfortunately, not all of them are. Not all of the pictures for the NPCs are great. The way they did them in Strahd gives information away about them half the time. It's very frustrating. Very frustrating. So, for it right now. Nope, there actually is not one for him. That's unfortunate.
That's okay.
But anyway, pencil mustache and beard, goatee, whole thing. Slimy, Weasley, kind of car salesman-like vibe off of him. The lady eventually invites you all, please come, let's sit down and have dinner, and I can't wait to hear all your wonderful, wonderful tales. She brings you all around and kind of guides you all towards the table. You all sit down, and almost immediately a group of young women, all dressed very similarly to the one who opened the door, comes in and brings out your first course, a very, very hot and rich soup. Kind of creamy. It's very starchy. The smell smells of potatoes and garlic, and smells quite good. And all of you, your stomachs kind of rumble as it happens, as these bowls are set down in front of you. The lady turns first towards small talk, asking you all how you like the town now that you've spent a day in it, that sort of thing. You can't help but notice that she seems to know a little bit about what all you've been doing already, or at least she implies it as she's making small talk with you all. How do you react to this?
I see you've been keeping tabs on us.
Oh, I like to keep well informed, but finding out what's been going on with a group such as yourself is not difficult in a town like this. I've heard about several run-ins with our wise constable. She kind of chuckles at that.
Ah, old bee farm, yeah. He's a real hoot.
No, he is indeed. Urzak is... well, he is a brute. He keeps peace, but he keeps peace at the edge of that axe he carries and those claws he has. And she shudders, and Ernst, her companion, shudders as well, very theatrically.
Hmm. So, yeah. So, yeah, we've been around town trying to get the lay of the land. Few things are, interesting about the place.
Oh, do tell, do tell. What do you find interesting?
Oh, maybe not so interesting. What's with the law about smiling and being happy? What is all that about?
She chuckles a little bit about that. I'd like for you to make a persuasion check.
No, well, it worked before. Oh, 16.
16. Fiona says to you, the Baron, and as she says the word Baron, you can hear the scorn in her voice. The Baron thinks that if the townspeople go about their days pretending to be smiling and happy and carefree, that somehow makes everything right in the world. The buffoon believes that his regular festivals somehow keep the Lord of the land away from the town. She kind of chuckles at that. Of course, this is all nonsense, as I'm sure such fine travelers as yourself, such well-traveled individuals such as yourself, would be able to recognize acting happy, pretending everything is going to be okay. That does nothing but keep the rabble happy.
Or pretending they're happy, at least.
At the threat of a whipping, if what I'm hearing is true.
Yeah, we saw some of that. Saw some of that earlier today, or was it yesterday? We saw that.
It was today.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's been weeks, but it's also only really been hours.
Yeah.
You want to, depending on what context we want to talk about here.
This is true.
So yeah, we did notice that. It's unfortunate. There's not really much we can do for those people. I mean, outright, without, I don't know, starting a civil war in the town, and
that is the unfortunate truth of it all. As long as the Baron has his right hand, as it were, he will always maintain control over the people. It's the sheriff, of course, that keeps order here in Veros. It's the fear of that brute that keeps everyone smiling. As long as he's around, the Baron can say whatever he wants. And only people like myself have the money to do the same. It won't be long before that sheriff comes after you all. You must know that by now. He needs very little excuse to arrest somebody or harass them. And it only takes one wrong word to give him a reason to unleash his fierce powers.
Forgive me for asking, but let's speak plainly. Why did you invite us here?
Make for me a persuasion check.
Persuasion. Not good. It's a nat 1.
She smiles at you, Urzak, and she says, "Can't a lonely old woman enjoy the company of people who bring news from beyond her narrow streets?"
Danika's gonna roll her eyes, and she's gonna go, "We all know that's a lie. What's your actual reason?"
Well, you keep asking, and the DC just gets higher, but it's not hard to beat a nat 1, so let's see what you can do.
"26.
That is better. Almost 20 better, in fact. Anyway, the lady smiles and kind of chuckles a little bit again, and she says to you, "Very, very well. Cards on the table and all that. The Baron is a fool. The Baron wishes to continue these dumb festivals and harassing people and keeping these fake smiles on their faces. Well, many around town saw the way you all reacted from the moment you stepped foot out of your inn. You've talked to people and, well, people hear things in a small community. I think that I would make a much better burgomaster than the Baron. I believe that the Baron means to drive this town into ruin, keeping the peasants and their eyes turned away from what's going on in the world, keeping their money in his pocket. Anyone could run a town better than that. But the issue is, no matter how many I hire to work for me, as long as the Baron has his sheriff, no one can make a move on him. I've heard that the Baron has sent his sheriff to even threaten those at the Blue Water Inn, where you're all staying, threatening to drag them away and whip them in the street if they don't provide wine. I feel like somebody should do something about that. And then a group of well-armed and armored individuals stroll into town and start causing a commotion. So I thought to myself, Perhaps these are individuals whose motives and goals align with my own. And so here we are, having a lovely dinner. And speaking of terrible, terrible things. But individuals such as yourself might just be strong enough to stand up to the sheriff.
So, it sounds to me like you're trying to hire us to kill said sheriff.
I was hoping that our goals might align in that regard. The people will follow me, but they will not do so as long as the Baron's thug is looming over their necks. So I suppose what I'm asking is, what are ones such as yourselves willing to do when they see injustice like this?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. The Baron, well, I mean, not even the Baron, but his thug definitely does need to. I mean, I want to say he does need to be dealt with, but I don't. I mean, we've got so many other things going on. I mean, are we really the ones to deal with them? I guess. Perhaps we are. How do we know? We really know nothing about you. How can you be so sure to us that you would be a better leader? We are outsiders.
She shrugs her shoulders a little bit and she says, "That is true. You do not know me, nor I you. And yet, the people of this town do know me. They know how I stand up to the Baron whenever I can. They know how I've helped them during the lean years, how I've given of myself and my family. They know what the Baron has done to my family. They know what he has done to my daughter. They will follow me. They will be better for it. For while the Baron is a fool, I am a realist. I know that putting on fake smiles and holding foolish festivals will not keep the peace in this land. I know who truly rules over these lands. And all I want is to make sure the people of this town stay safe. She kind of leans back in her chair. She says,
Can I? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
From her speech, can I maybe, I guess, determine her maybe sincerity towards helping the citizens?
Yeah, make your insight check.
Insight. A 19.
Okay. You're listening to her speech. She definitely sounds passionate about her desire to be rid of the Baron. You can definitely tell that she has a grudge against this man, and that she wants him gone. She wants him ousted. You can tell that she's not being 100% forthright, but you can also tell that she's being sincere in the fact that she wants the Baron gone, and she's willing to go to these great lengths, to including approaching strangers from afar to go to that length. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Danika is... She's gonna sit back a little bit and kind of think things over, like mull things over in her head. And then she's gonna go, I really do think that there's a bit more to this. What's your grudge? What's your bad blood between you and him?
Make a persuasion check.
Oh man, it should be an 11. But I have my when it goes to an 18.
Oh yeah, because you can't roll below an 18.
Correct.
Is that higher now that we have, like... Is our proficiency bonus higher now that we've leveled up? I don't even remember.
That's a good question.
I don't know.
Let's see, what is your persuasion is currently a 10, and I believe it's let me double check.
Because I think this ability, doesn't it treat it like you rolled a 10?
I think it's a 10. I just want to double check. Yeah. You treat a 9 or lower as a 10, so technically it's a 20. So you cannot roll below a 20 now on persuasion.
Okay.
Jesus.
That's crazy.
Fucking bards, dude. Yeah, the lady sighs and says, I suppose I should lay all of our cards on the table, shouldn't I? You see, I won't lie. This is also personal for me as well as political. Don't get me wrong. The Baron is a buffoon. I can absolutely run this town better than he can. I've been silently doing it for years. But that's not the whole reason I want him gone. You see, I had arranged a match between my daughter and the Baron's son. My darling Stella is my only daughter, and I've doted upon her since she was born. I nurtured her so very gently and carefully, as a mother should. And when she came of age, I arranged the match with the Baron's son. At first, things I thought were going well. They agreed upon the match, and Stella was sent to live with them. But once she did, I lost all contact with my daughter. I was told that she wanted nothing to do with me, wanted nothing to do with the family. I didn't believe it. But that damned thug, Urzak, drove me and my husband away. My husband lies upstairs, even now, barely able to move, paralyzed, barely conscious at most days. But I nursed him as well as I could. And I do to this day. But to make matters worse, 6 months after Stella went to live with the Baron and his son, she fled back to the house. She came home, but she was changed. She was driven mad. She could barely articulate the horrors that the Baron's son inflicted upon her. Her mind is not her own. I barely can get more than a dozen coherent words out of her these days. They say the Baron's son is sick, and my daughter is living proof of that. He fancies himself a wizard. Even to this day, at night, you can see odd colored flashes coming from the windows at the top of the Baron's manor. I have no idea what he did to my daughter, but whatever it was drove her insane. And after all of that, I swore that I would drive the Baron from Veros and have my revenge upon him for what he did to my family and to this town. She kind of leans back in her chair and sighs a little bit. Ernst, E-R-N-S-T, that's a weird name, but Ernst, stands up and kind of walks over to her, and he takes her hand in his and pats it and kind of gives her a little bit of soothing talk. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. The Baron will have his day, I swear to you. But eventually, Fiona picks up her goblet of wine, drains it, before placing it down once again and regarding you all. She says, "There you have it. I admit I do wish revenge on the Baron, but I also do believe that Veros would be infinitesimally better than it is now." I was not lying about that. So what say you all? Will you help me rid Veros of these heinous, heinous men? Vide, we haven't heard from you at all. What are your thoughts during this dinner?
I mean, Bede's inclined to want to take care of this sheriff. Not super awesome. He hasn't been super nice to anybody. I mean, I'm not saying that to her. No. I don't know.
That's all kind of internal right now.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It does not sound pleasant. Baron doesn't sound pleasant. Or at least his son.
What about the rest of you?
It's clear that things here are not. Well, I mean, from our perspective, from where we're from, yes, there most definitely needs to be some kind of a change. And I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I still don't know much about you, but the mere fact that you wish to do better, at least for the people, or you're saying you'll want to do better, at least on the, at the very least, that's much better than what we've seen from this Baron and definitely old bee farm there. I mean, if we're to do this, what are you envisioning this to look like? Are we directly assaulting them during the festival tomorrow? Do we try and take them in secret? I mean, no coup is bloodless amongst the innocent either. Other people in the town are probably going to get hurt.
Perhaps, but perhaps not. While the Baron... Go ahead, Vide.
I was going to ask, how many... Like, we know about the sheriff, but how many guards in total does he have under his thumb?
The sheriff's guards number 24 in total.
Oh, only 24.
And are they all super loyal?
She kind of shakes her head back and forth a little bit as she says, some more than others, but no, not all. Not all at all. And while the guards' number for day-to-day affairs are numbering 24, in times of crisis, a militia of 60 or more can usually be drawn up. There are the woodsmen, there are hunters and their sorts. There's the Vistani as well, but they typically couldn't care less about local politics. But the sheriff, Urzak, is the true power that the Baron wields. The Baron himself is a coward. If Urzak is not at his beck and call, well, if he wasn't around, I would have already assumed control of the town.
Yes, I'm just wanting to figure out how we can get Urzak and as few guards as possible. Be a problem.
To answer your previous question about the festival, the the next festival could easily be a good time to confront the sheriff if you wish to do so openly and in front of everyone. If you were able to find a way to dispatch or waylay the sheriff in some way, or confine him, or drive him out of town, the effect would be the same. Without his right hand to control everyone else through fear and through his power. If the Baron does not have that, well, the guards would likely fall in line under whomever they are more loyal to. And I believe I have enough under my good graces that the majority would side with me.
Another thing about this festival. What exactly is to happen at the festival?
Fiona kind of shrugs a little bit and turns to Ernst, and Ernst sits up and says, "Well, yes, I can answer that question. From what I understand, the Baron intends to alight the pyre, to set it on fire right as the sun rises over the trees in the horizon. He's planning to make some sort of grand speech, and according to him, when the thatch, the thatch ball on the top of the pyre, damnedest looking thing I've ever seen, when it catches on fire, according to the Baron, the clouds are meant to separate, and the sun, which is supposed to shine down on Veros for the first time in, well, decades." But from what I understand, it's literally just thatch and twigs. There's nothing else in there. It's hollow.
That's the problem. Something that's hollow can be filled.
It could if someone were to, say, pour water over it, but there's no hatch. There's no door. There's no way to put anything in it.
I was worried that it might put people in it.
Ernst and Lady Fiona kind of look to one another at that. Could the Baron be planning on burning someone?
I mean, where we're from, there have been dark rituals before where people have sacrificed some in attempts to bring about some kind of a change, but I don't see that the magic is here. I mean,
Ernst, what was the name of that lad that the Baron is keeping in his cage in the cellar? Ernst kind of sits back and thinks for a moment. Oh, yes. That is the cobbler's son, if I'm not mistaken. What was his name? Matt's blanking on the name. Udo.
Yeah,
his
the
name
old lady
is
told
Udo
us, yeah.
Lukovic. That would be young Udo Lukovic, the shoemaker. He was, in fact, whipped this morning, or this afternoon, in the town square. You all suspect that he is going to be burned in the fire?
I don't know. I saw the structure of it, and I just assumed that something weird like that was going to happen. I've never met this Baron. We don't know.
I mean, we've not met very many kind people here, so.
I mean, like, since sacrifices have been made for bountiful crops before, why couldn't one be made to bring back the sun?
Lady Fiona and Ernst kind of exchange significant glances with one another for a moment before the noblewoman turns back to you all and she says, well, if the Baron is planning on burning young Udo, he must be stopped immediately.
Well, and
Well,
it is
we
just
have-
a potential theory. I'm
We
not
have
sure
no
that.
proof to confirm nor deny this.
Like I said, it's happened before. Regardless, I mean, he seems like he needs to be stopped, or at least his, demonic armed friend taken out of commission. But another thing kind of comes to mind here. We have come in contact with, the Devil Strahd, and we took something from someone here in Barovia. He intervened and took it back. Now, what is to say he won't do that here? If we wrest power from the Baron, what's going to stop him from stepping in and reversing that with something much darker? Seems like that's kind of his thing.
Well, first of all, it would not be you wresting power away from the Baron. It would be me.
Well, if we're the arm that swings the sword, so to speak, I mean, yeah, you would be punished, but so would we. Not that we're not willing to be punished. I mean, we seem to kind of be on his dark list anyway, but...
I do understand your concern, and you make an interesting point. However, the Lord Strahd is a pragmatic ruler. He cares very little about the villages and towns in his lands, so long as his taxes and his rules are obeyed. One ruler is as good as another. At least that's what our village's experience has always been. There has been many burgomasters who have displeased him over the many years of his reign. And those that do are quickly and effectively eliminated. In fact, I remember seeing one such when I was a child, many, many years ago. When the taxes were not being delivered on time. It was discovered that a previous burgomaster of another village he was stealing from Strahd, and Strahd decimated the village and wiped out that burgomaster. But as long as the taxes are paid, as long as his rule is obeyed, I do not believe Strahd would care one bit whether it were me producing those taxes or another.
If we're to do this, I hope you're right about that. I'm willing to put my own life in danger, but I don't want the town to pay for my action.
As you say, I do not want this town affected either. which is why we should do this carefully and intelligently. I do not think that a large show would be in the people's benefit. I certainly don't think it would be in the benefit of young Udo. Would you agree?
Well, if that is what's gonna happen to him, like I said, it was just a thought when I saw the way that structure was shaped. Clearly, something is meant to be inside of it. What that is, I mean, if it is that young boy, then my lady would almost insist that I get involved.
Has this type of festival taken place before, or is this the first time they've done that?
One
The
like
fire.
this with the fire, no. There have been many festivals. They happen every few weeks to a month or so. The Baron does them more on whim than anything else, but each one is different and unique. The last one, they rounded up a bunch of wolves and cut off their heads and stuck them on stakes outside of town. The time before that, they blessed every single house with water drawn from the lake to the north. Each one is sillier and sillier than the last.
So the sacrifice is not completely off the table here.
With the Baron, I would say that nothing is off the table.
Yeah, because I share the same worry as Cog. Again, not that, we know that's what's going to happen, but I do worry there's more to it than just simply lighting a fire.
Well, the festival is the day after tomorrow. The morning after tomorrow. So if you wish to intervene before the festival takes place, you have little more than 24 hours to do so. Now, once you plan on confronting the sheriff and deal with him however you choose, I will reach out to those loyal to me and have them ready, so that once the sheriff is dealt with, they will stand and assist me in arresting those in the Baron's household and take command of the town. All I need to know is when you plan to do it. And I can have my people ready within several hours. Though if we can come to an agreement tonight, all the better.
Is there a way for us to get in contact with you discreetly and quickly?
Ernst speaks up and he says, you can always find me. I'm typically about town all throughout the day. If you know someplace you would like to meet or a time, we can certainly arrange that as well. I do employ several runners throughout the town. I can keep myself informed about your whereabouts. Will that suffice?
What kind of numbers can you bring to the party here in terms of people loyal to you?
Are you speaking of everyone in town, or just of fighting men and women?
Fighting. I don't, we don't need to hopefully involve anyone more than we need to.
She kind of looks over at Ernst, and you can tell he's kind of doing numbers in his head, and I could probably rouse a few dozen men of my own, contacts of my own. Lady Wachter says, I as well could gather at least a third to a half of the guards, as well as most of the hunters and tradesmen as well. All of the merchants are loyal to me here in town, as are many others. I believe a fair few would stand with us.
Ultimately, I feel like we need as many guards who are willing to look the other way as possible.
Once the sheriff is dealt with, all will look the other way.
Well, no, I mean, while we're dealing with said sheriff, we may need guards who will look the other way. That would certainly help.
If you wish to deal with him when he is not with his guards, Urzak does have a room at the Baron's residence. He is not a man of many devices, but he is one who very often goes to the toy maker, Blinsky.
Yeah, we heard. We've been there too.
His patrol also does occasionally take him out towards the lake. There are many places that he could be found and approached with minimal guards, and if the right guards are with him at the time, there's a good chance that many would stand aside and watch.
Is there a way, like, when he goes outside towards the lake, is that something routine, or is something have to happen to draw that out?
Ernst speaks up and says he usually heads towards there around midday. It's part of his rounds. He likes to make sure that the fishing boats are out there and doing their job.
All right. I mean, if we could catch him outside, that might be the best way to minimize innocent lives from being sacrificed in our fight to take him out. Now, that wouldn't stop the Baron. He would still be in play, and whatever his son is up to, but we might be able to take old Bee Farm off the table.
I think that's his strongest piece. So
it is indeed his strongest piece. His son has never been one to go out of his way to help others, and does not practice his magic in public. In fact, the only reason that we know about it is testimony from my daughter, as well as signs and clues about the man.
Sorry.
I was just going to say, but whether or not he stands and fights alongside his father, well, I imagine he is just as much of a coward as the Baron is himself. And as I said, once once those he controls are no longer in play, well, I suspect he will fold like a tower of cards.
I still have some apprehensions, but I agree. Take him out. So, if he does make for the lake sometime around midday, then perhaps we need to set up some kind of an ambush for him.
Thinking the same thing.
And she did say that when he goes out to the lake, he usually has guards with him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way that it would be potentially possible to facilitate that the guards that are with him maybe are not so loyal to him? Or is that just kind of random?
Lady Wachter looks over towards Ernst and says, "What do you think, Ernst?" Ernst kind of considers it for a few moments, and he says, "It's possible, my lady. It would not be easy, and would be expensive, and, well, the truth to be told, it would probably take up most of the rest of my evening if I were to do so, but yes, I believe it's possible to ensure that some of those loyal to us are with the sheriff on his daily patrol tomorrow."
And how many guards usually do attend them, or is that different?
What's that?
How many is it usually the same amount of guards that attend with him to the lake, or is it different? I'm just trying to gauge what we're looking at.
He typically patrols the village with 4 guards. They change throughout the day, depending on where else their duties take them. But we can ensure that the 3 that go with him in mid-afternoon are 3 loyal to us and are willing to step aside or look the other way while you 5 confront the sheriff outside of town. I believe we could make that happen. Don't you, Ernst? And Ernst says, "I believe so, my lady. But if I am to do so, I must take my leave here soon." Lady Wachter says, Of course. One moment." She picks up a bell, a little handbell nearby, and rings it, and one of the maids comes scuffling in. She approaches the lady, and Lady Wachter whispers something in her ear for a few moments before she scurries off, leaving the parlor. About 5 minutes later, she returns carrying a small lacquered wooden chest on a tray. She places it down on the table next to Lady Fiona, who brings out a key on a chain from inside of her dress. This she takes and unlocks and opens it up, and you see several leather bags just cinched up and kind of all piled up on top of one another. She rummages through it a little bit and takes out 2 smallish sized sacks and places them next to her companion. "I think these should do, Ernst. If you need more, I will be up late this evening, I think. I have many letters to compose." She looks back to you all and she says, "I do appreciate the fact that you are all willing to listen to my plea and take up arms in my defense. But I also understand that you are not doing so purely for altruistic reasons. I expect you might need some coin to, if nothing else, aid you on your endeavors.
Yeah, we certainly would.
I barely heard you, Brandie.
Sorry. I said, yeah, we certainly wouldn't turn that down. Or at least I don't think we would. Would we, guys? Are we going to turn it down?
I don't know.
More than
Urzak was
coin.
making a face.
I would ask a favor of you upon completion of this.
A favor? And am I allowed to know this favor now, or is this just a promise of something yet to come?
Something yet to come. I need to confer with my companions here first.
I have no choice but to accept, but if I may, I would like to add one caveat, being that I will do for you one favor you request, so long as it does nothing to harm or hinder myself or those in this town.
Of course not.
Then I accept your terms, Urzak. She kind of bows to you.
Lady Wachter. You brought up multiple times about your daughter Stella that's afflicted with the madness. Is she here?
She nods her head. Yes, she is here. She is upstairs in her room.
By chance, can we meet her? You see our little guy over there, and she points at Cog. He's a man of wisdom, but and also medicine. Maybe if we see her, we might be able to tell something from her affliction. It's not a guarantee.
She kind of considers your request a little bit, but I'm going to need a persuasion check here. And this is a high DC, because as she did mention, her daughter's been driven insane.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's 909. We'll use my nat 20.
Fair enough.
So you got a total of 30.
Well,
Bard stuff.
She sighs and says, I will allow you to meet Stella. However, I do have some stipulations. Please do not touch her without asking me first. Please make sure you maintain a safe distance between you and her. If at any time I feel that she is becoming overstimulated, I will insist that you vacate the room. And my final insistence is that you do not speak of my daughter's affliction to anyone. It is not known among town what's happened to her, and I do not want the story to get out.
I do believe we can honor that request.
Gotta be like, well, since I have been volunteered,
Voluntold.
I do promise whatever we can help with, I will do so with the utmost care.
Can I do an intimidation roll for Cog? Please.
Why?
It just looks so defeated.
Intimidating Cog into doing it. She's just gonna give him a look like.
I guess.
Yes. I just want to do it, Cog, please.
What am I rolling back?
I'm gonna let you see what the dice roll, and you're welcome to interpret this however you want. I mean, if you can think of a roll you want to try to make, you're welcome to.
Cast Spirit Guardians right in the room. She's not protected.
Just get in that 20 right back. Just do it. It's fine.
Can we just say, like you're not actually intimidated? It's more like you felt like a little tingle, like the poor kid back at the church might have felt.
You know, I'd almost like to think that he's probably seen this looks from her before. He's just like, I said I would take a look. I don't know what's gotten into you lately, young lady, but I do not like it.
She's gonna give him a little thumbs up. Thanks, Cog.
I swear, 1 minute you guys are great and helpful. The next minute you're pissing in the punch bowl. I don't know what's going on with you people today. And he's saying this out loud. He's just like, yeah, I agreed that I would.
True.
Ma'am, I promise, as a faithful follower of Lady Andala, I don't know if you know who that goddess is. She's from she protects my people. She's a good goddess. I will not do any harm to your child.
Very
do the
well.
best of my ability to help in any way I can.
Well,
He's glower back at Danika.
Lady Wachter says, will you remain here with the rest of our guests? I feel that too many people going up would be unnerving for her. Yes, of course. No worries, my lady, he says as he's stuffing the bags of coin into his jacket pocket. Lady Fiona rises and says, please follow me. We'll be going to the second floor. So is it just you, Cog?
I guess.
Ooh, I would like to go also.
He's just gonna he goes, really?
What? I asked.
It's okay. I'll stay down here.
Vide will also stay downstairs.
Why not?
Stop giving him ammunition.
Are we wanting to run this now, or are you gonna want to wait till next time? Or?
It's like super quick. I wasn't gonna talk a whole lot about this. I'm just gonna describe what it is you see because it's kind of messed up. Heading up the stairs to the second floor, like the first thing that assaults your nostrils is the smell of ammonia. It reeks up there. Have you ever been to a hoarder's house that has like 24 cats? That's kind of what it smells like when you go up there, and you can't help but cover your nose, both of you. And Lady Fiona, you notice, does the same, and she says, "I'm sorry. The maids try to do as best as they can here, but as I said, my daughter is just not well at all." She walks over to the door, one of particular door down the hallway, knocks on it and says, Lady Wachter says, Stella, it's Mother. I'm coming in with a couple of people please, just don't worry. Everything is going to be fine. She then takes another set of keys from a pouch at her belt, and this she inserts into the door of the room, unlocking it. You watch as she pushes the door open to reveal a room that is musty and dark. There is an iron-framed bed fitted with leather straps that stands in the center of this room. The place has no other furnishings whatsoever. However, the next thing you see is half a dozen freaking cats of various ages and sizes, all sitting on top of that bed. You hear scurrying sounds, scritches and scratches for a moment, and your eyes dart back and forth looking for the sound, and you see a young woman in a soiled nightgown leaping up onto the bed on all fours, sitting there with her fingers on fingertips up on the bed as she arches her back and hisses at you like a cat.
Oh.
You see Lady Wachter stepping into the room, but the young woman hisses again even louder. As you're looking at her, you can tell that at one point this young lady must have been a beauty. She has all of a youthful feature version of her mother with dark hair, but the hair is frizzy and in a gigantic matted fro, as though it hasn't been brushed in months. As Lady Wachter approaches her, the girl hisses again. And then Lady Fiona says to her, Now, dear, it's me, it's Mother. It's okay. We're not going to hurt you." And the young woman hisses again a third time and says, "Little kitty doesn't know you. Little kitty doesn't like the smell of you. Get out of little kitty's room." And she hisses again and swipes at her mother with her fingers. Lady Wachter jumps back, but the young woman's fingertips catch her arm and claw her a little bit, and you see a shock of crimson spray onto the bed as the noblewoman stumbles backward, clutching her arm. What do you do?
I don't know, Danika. What does he do? I mean, I guess he would just kind of like slow. I mean, the Lady Wachter, is she come back to us, or is she kind of still standing nearby?
She is stumbled backwards. She's kind of pretty much in line with you all now.
All right. I mean, he would just kind of slowly, just very careful steps forward. He'll just kind of reach, just even absent-minded, just reach over to her wrist, or I guess where she got her, and he's just gonna do like a level 1 cure wounds just to take care of that wound for her.
Okay, go ahead and cast your spell. I assume it'll be more than 2 hit points, so you do heal.
Yeah, I mean it's +4, so yeah, and then it's got plus the level, and then now I get that too, so I get 2. So it's 11 healing for he's giving her that good touch.
Okay.
So yeah, he just kind of does that, and he's just he'll slowly. He's not gonna approach too close, but he goes, "Wow, little kitty. I can see things are a little difficult for you up here. Yes, ma'am. Something very difficult has befallen you, hasn't it?"
You know that low growl that cats do? it starts issuing from this young woman, and what is very unnerving is all of the cats that were in the
Do it
room
too.
on the bed rise up and start doing that too. Their backs are all arched, their paws are out like they're ready to scratch, and they all act in the same way at the same time.
Interesting.
Oh.
And he'll just kind of like quietly say to Lady Walker, he goes, "You said this happened after she met with the Baron's son."
Now you understand, don't you? Now you see just how horrible that whole family is. Look at what they did to my daughter. And you can see tears in the corners of her eyes.
I do believe your daughter can be helped. I was like, I don't know if it would be if she's under a curse, or if it would just take a little bit more powerful magic than I might be able to conjure at this time. It's like, I think this is gonna need, I mean, I can do something, restore minor malady at this point. But how do you say, my experience level hasn't reached that point yet in character. I still need a little bit of maybe a tiny bit of learning to figure out, but there is some greater maladies that I can take care of with some magic. But I don't know if I'm capable of it yet.
You need to study a little bit more.
Yeah, he goes, I can try one thing. And like what he'll do is like, he goes, maybe give her a momentary bit of clarity. He'll try just for a second, because I mean, at this point, he's almost kind of taking the lady's like, he goes, I think I've seen enough. I do believe she can be helped, but let me try one thing before we go. And he will kind of quickly try a calm emotions on the room to see if this can calm the daughter even a little bit to bring back what she potentially was. If it doesn't, now if she passes, okay, but if she fails and it doesn't work, then Cog will know there is definitely something affecting her mind that's of a magical nature.
Okay, well, let me make some rolls here real quick.
It's a 15 wisdom, right? Yes. Charisma. 15 charisma. Now I guess that's gonna affect his, little demon-esque blonde behind him, but I mean, shit, she can hit a 15, I'm sure.
Well, let's see. Danika, make your roll as well.
You know what, charisma?
Yep, charisma.
Yes.
It's
asking a bard to roll a charisma. Oh shit, one of the cats didn't
Charisma.
Wait, that says for each humanoid though. Cats are not humanoids.
That's true, it is. I was just rolling for the fun of it. But you're right, it does say humanoid, so the cats wouldn't be effective regardless.
But they seem to follow her cues, so maybe if she's calm for a minute, they will be as well.
Well, you do see after you cast your spell, that the young woman does seem to calm down a little bit. She's watching you. She's weary, but her back's kind of lowering now. The other cats, the ones on the bed, their ears kind of turn more. They're no longer back against their skulls. The young woman kind of sits down a little bit like a cat and begins licking her hand.
Can Danika cast Speak with Animals?
No.
No?
Don't do that.
I mean, you can. If do you have the spells?
I mean, I do, but I'm afraid I'm gonna make things worse.
I mean, if he can see that she's kind of calmed down and has gone to a much calmer demeanor, he's just gonna say, he goes, "My dear, my name is Corwan, and I'm going to find a way to help you." And then he's just gonna kind of take the mother, and he goes, "Let's just back out slowly." He goes, "This will wear off in a minute."
And Lady Fiona nods and looks She looks at her daughter one last time. You can definitely see that, like, there's that worried look on her face. But she does follow you and Danika out the door and closes the door behind her.
He'll just say, I was able to get through to her a little, but something is definitely magically affecting her mind.
What was that spell? What did you do?
It's just something simple called calm emotions. It's a very, in times of great strife, or if there's a crowd getting unruly, it's very effective in groups. But sometimes it can give moments of clarity to someone in your daughter's situation. As I said, I could try a remove curse on her, but it's almost like she's devolved a little into an animalistic nature. I mean, he's fractured her mind in a way that I'm not quite sure yet. I need to add, I mean, if we could talk to him and get a hold of him, maybe we could find out, maybe, old Moose Thumbs back here could figure out how to, beat it out of him. I don't know why I went with Moose Thumbs. I was trying to pick it up, and I was just like, you know what? Let's go with big ass burly animal. Beats the shit out of people with its hooves. It's like, she could probably intimidate the crap out of him and find out what he did to her.
It's true.
But perhaps, what's the Abbey? What was that name of that town we're going to again?
Algiba.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like, we are intending to make it to Algiba at some point. Perhaps I can gain access to some knowledge that can help me there. But there's definitely something affecting her mind.
Any assistance you could lend to my daughter would be deeply, deeply appreciated. Thank you for trying, at least. Even seeing her calm for a moment was a wonderful thing. So thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am. I will try my best to figure out what I can do.
And I think that's actually a great place to end things for this evening. So, well done, everybody. You have apparently made a ally here with this noble woman, Lady Fiona Wachter. So, we'll see what happens here in 2 weeks when you apparently are going to go hunt down the sheriff. Should be fun. Well, thank you to everyone who watched this evening. We very much appreciate you tuning in and hanging out with us. Come back in 2 weeks to find out what our heroes do as they go in search of the sheriff, who apparently is the powerhouse of the Baron. Should be a lot of fun. Now, as always, I like to go around the table and have everybody tell us who they are and where we can find them on the internet. And Danika, since you're the one who did the recap, why don't you go first?
Hi, I'm Natalie. You can find me here every other week as Danika on Sonnet of Blood. Other than that, if you need to find me on Twitter, it's Batty Baby, but I'm not really on there. Or it's Batty Natty, it's one of the two. Other than that, that's all.
It's Batty Baby. Batty_baby. Just saying.
It was close.
Yeah. Okay. Joe, why don't you go next?
Well, I do play Corwan, Oliver Goodwood here in Curse of Strahd. You can also find me Mondays of the same week we play Strahd. So in 2 weeks on Monday, I am Zolos Vonneguth in the Aether Shanties. We are in outer space or the Astral Sea. And we're moving, and we don't know where we're going, but we found food and liquor, so we're alive for now. And I'm at Blood from a Stone on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it.
Right on. Brandie, you're next.
Yeah, you can find me here every other Wednesday on Curse of Strahd as Vide, and the opposite Mondays on Aether Tech Wars as Mako. I believe we're down in the tunnels again, trying to get through there, figure out what's going on underneath the town. Otherwise, I am on all the socials as River Dragon 82. That's River with a Y, Dragon 82. I don't do much on there. I don't do as much as I should on those. Maybe one of these days.
Okay, Marty, you're next.
Well, I'm Marty. I've been Urzak this evening and every other evening for Sonnet of Blood. You can find me at the Bard Rock Network, where I'm on like half of the shows on that network. Check out Bard Rock Cafe, check out Monster Cafe, Wayfaring Strangers, College of Whispers, probably some other one that I totally forgot about. I'm starting live streaming on Twitch again. You can check me out at twitch.tv/BallMartian, the same as all my socials. I don't have a set schedule yet. I'm just kind of doing it when I have time, which is very infrequently. But yeah, I played Stardew Valley this past weekend with my co-host from College of Whispers. It was a good time, so come check it out sometime.
We love that game. Well, I am Matthew R. Dawson, your friendly neighborhood host and game master here on the Random Rhapsody Network. You can always find me as Scruffy Wanderer on the tweets and the instas and everywhere else. And you can always find me here every Monday and Wednesday running games for these crazy people. Other than that, you can occasionally find me over on Lost Caravan RPG, on All on the Table TTRPG, and a bunch of random other places. So just follow me on the socials and you can find out where I'm at. Okay. Well, on behalf of everyone here in Sonnet of Blood and everyone in the Random Rhapsody crew, I just want to say, thank you, folks. It's been a delight. So long. Good luck. And until next time, may you live until you die. Good night, everybody.
Good night.